weekend I went to see the new Bruce Springsteen biopic, Deliver Me From Nowhere, and what I'm going to talk about in this video is how well Jeremy Allen White acted playing the guitar. Because sometimes, being a guitarist, when I watch people in films or on television pretending to play the guitar, it can be so bad it puts me off. So I'm going to talk about how well I think he did it. Now, there seem to have been lots of music biopics recently, and I've not seen any of them. I've just started though watching the Bob Dylan one, partly prompted by the fact that I went to see Bob Dylan live last week. Check out my video last week on my review of that. I'm watching the biopic regardless of what I thought of the live performance. I've also not watched the Elvis one, which is ridiculous because I love Elvis. I really want to see that one. The only ones I think I've seen in the past I saw, and I think I saw them both on aeroplanes, which isn't really the best way to watch a film, watching them on a screen about that big, was the Ray Charles one and the Johnny Cash one, but none of the other ones, the Queen or the Elton John ones that have been out more recently, I've seen, so must get round to those. Until about 6 months ago, maybe even less, I didn't know much about Bruce Springsteen. I'd never really listened to him, and in fact I'd tried listening to it a couple of times and didn't really enjoy it. I think I tried listening to the River album, and for some reason it just didn't click with me. And then there was a sale. I listened to a lot of audiobooks, and there was a 2-for-1 sale on Audible, and there were just a couple of books that I thought, oh, they might be interesting. I think it was, what were the two I got at the time? I got Bruce Springsteen and I got the Chris Blackwell, the guy who did Island Records. Not two things that I particularly would have been thought were the kind of thing that I would definitely go for, but I thought was 2-for-1. I'm going to try them, they might be interesting. Anyway, the Bruce Springsteen one is absolutely brilliant. He's reading it himself. And I'm a complete convert now. I'm completely obsessed with Bruce Springsteen, even to the point where I've bought the t-shirt. And because I'd listened to the book, I knew quite a lot of the story that was in the film, which was good. They kind of dramatised some bits, so I know there were some bits that weren't quite as true to the story that he told in the thing. Not wildly different, but they just make them work better in the film. But I'm glad I did read the book first, or listen to the book first, because it definitely made more of it make sense than I think it would have done if I hadn't. I really enjoyed the film. I went with my daughter. Some great performances. Jeremy as Bruce is brilliant. His manager, I think he's called Jeremy as well, the actor, he's brilliant. And one particular character who adds lots of the comic element is, let me look his name up here, Paul Walter Hauser, who plays the guy who is kind of his tape op when he goes to his house to record Nebraska on a 4-track recorder. He's hilarious. So now I'm going to have a little musical interlude here. Watching those Nebraska tapes, I thought, I wonder if some of my songs would handle that kind of stripped back thing. And I bought a harmonica with one of those holders about 20 years ago, and I played it for about 5 minutes and didn't get on with it. Typical. Anyway, I went and found it and the harmonica, and I'm going to do one of my songs, just a little bit of one of my songs now, using the harmonica holder. I've never played the harmonica before, so don't expect too much. But anyway, have a listen to this, see what you think.
Left Nashville tonight, hit I-65. That town makes me feel so alive. I turn the radio up and I follow the moon. Headlights and white lines hypnotize as I try not to close my eyes. I can't remember broken promises in my sleep. Down these roads that men have made, or did they build on a runaway? By the way, I'm coming home. By the way, I'm coming home. I guess I never know what could happen. By the way, I'm coming home. Can't make it there on my own. So much to say, so many things I've seen. I'm coming home, gonna tell you everything.
So what I'd like to know actually is if there are people in other professions, when they watch things being portrayed in films pertaining to their profession, whether it puts them off when they're not done properly. And I think if that is the case, one of the worst things must be being like a detective or something, because that would ruin all crime drama if you watch it and it's not realistic. Or maybe being a doctor, because there's so many medical things. I wonder how much that would kind of ruin the drama, because you know that the way it's being portrayed is completely wrong to serve the drama rather than being realistic. I mean, luckily, being a guitarist, there's far fewer instances of people playing guitar in film or on TV than there are in those other professions. But even there's things like in books, sometimes it ruins me. Ian McEwan, who's an amazing sort of novelist and playwright, he's written these most incredible books. I've read quite a lot of his books. But there was one of his books, which I think was called Saturday, there was a little section where he was describing someone playing the guitar. And it just wasn't right, really, the sort of description of the music he was using. It's just slightly wrong. And it's just weird, even someone who's that great a writer, when they're writing about something you really know about, it can miss the mark and put you off. There's also another writer who I've read all of his books, apart from I stopped at this point where a friend of mine read it and said it was all about music and the description of the music was so bad it put him off. It's David Mitchell, not the famous comedian, TV personality who also writes books, but the David Mitchell that wrote Cloud Atlas, etc. I've read all of his books up to the point where there's this band one. I will get round to it at some point, but it slightly put me off and I had lots of other things to read at the time. So I've found a few examples online of guitar playing on film, and I'm going to start with the absolute worst example. This is criminal, and I wonder, it's a Woody Allen film, and I wonder whether it's been done on purpose, because it's so stupid the way it's been done. It's Sean Penn in Sweet and Lowdown, where he's playing a kind of Django Reinhardt style guitarist called Ray, what's his name? Ray, I've written it down here, Emmett Ray. And the guitar playing, I'm not going to be able to use the sound on a lot of these clips, but I'm going to have to play a little bit just to show you how mismatched the sound is with his fingers. So this is Sean Penn pretending to play some kind of sort of solo. It's not really gypsy jazz, this bit, it's like a solo guitar piece, but check this out. I mean, he's literally waggling his fingers around, absolutely no relation to the music at all. As I say, I wonder if this has been done on purpose, because Woody Allen plays musical instruments, so he must have known that that looked daft. Now, another film from my youth as a guitar player. I mean, it's difficult explaining to kids these days that you can't just go on your computer and bring up any film or bit of music from any era at the touch of a button. Finding these little nuggets of someone playing the guitar on film was like gold dust. And one of them, of course, was the film Crossroads, starring Ralph Macchio as the, is that how you say it? As the sort of star. And he learnt to play the guitar, or learnt to act playing the guitar, by Arlen Roth, who brought out loads of those brilliant instructional videos, and Ry Cooder provided most of the sort of bluesy playing that he did. And of course at the end there's his very famous guitar duel that he plays against the Devil's guitarist, who the guitar is played and the part played by Steve Vai. And it was one of those bits of music where I still, actually if you look, I did a silly video about me trying to play that. I still haven't learnt it properly, was it 40 years later, but it was one of those epic scenes, and Steve Vai was brilliant in it, and it was a kind of bark piece I think he played very fast, high up the neck. And I remember, I think in Guitar Player magazine you used to get these floppy 7-inch singles that you put on your record player and you'd have to weigh it down. It was just a floppy bit of plastic, you put your needle on it, and I remember one of them with the tablature in, which is where I think I learnt it from. Anyway, this is the clip. I'm not going to put the sound on, as I say, but the audio and the way he's playing absolutely matches up. And the thing is, with these guys that do it right, they look as if they're really comfortable with the guitar. It's something that you can't, well, I thought you couldn't learn to do very quickly. It comes with years of having sat with the instrument. And there's a famous quote that I read somewhere once in a little book in a bookshop, and I've never been able to find it anywhere again, and it was a quote from Miles Davis saying, you can tell how good someone's going to be from the way they get their instrument out of the case. And it's funny, you can tell just by the way someone picks up their instrument and the way they're holding it, even before they play a note, whether they're going to be able to play it. And I find actually with drummers it's even more obvious, because they're sat, because it's a much more physical instrument. I can tell with the drummer, the way he's sat holding his sticks, even before he starts playing, how good he's been going to be. And I don't think I've ever been proved wrong on this. Well, I've not proved myself wrong on this. I remember playing with a drummer I'd never worked with, and something about the way he sat down, I thought, this guy's going to be good. And he was. Amazing. And then, of course, possibly the most famous bit of guitar playing on film, they just brought out a guitar to commemorate this. 1985, Back to the Future, Marty McFly saving the day at the dance so his parents can get together, and he gets up and does Johnny Be Good and then goes a bit over the top at the end. And with this one, apparently, what's his name? Michael J. Fox could play the guitar, and you can tell it's not him playing the guitar on the recording. I thought for a long time it was, because he's so convincing. I'm just going to show this clip without the sound, but that's him playing the intro. It's not showing his face in that, but I'm sure it is him. And there's lots of bits all the way through. You can see he's going from playing the rhythm part to doing the lead lick in the chorus. And the only bit that gives away that it's not him playing it is the very end, where he's kicked the amp over, he's lying on his back, and he does a sort of bend down on his knees, and the actual audio of it, you can hear the bend go up and a bit of vibrato and then come back down again, but he's just holding his fingers static. That's the bit there. I'll show you the visual of it, and that's the only bit that really, even when I was 10 watching it, or 12, whatever I was watching it, I thought, oh, that's not him playing that bit. You could just tell, but the rest of it completely convincing. So now on to Jeremy Allen White. What did I think about this? Well, I have to say, those last two examples I gave were good, but this is the most convincing guitar playing or acting of guitar playing that I've ever seen in a film. Here's a little bit about him talking about the process he went through.
Yeah, I mean, I never picked up a guitar before I started preparing for this movie, so it felt very alien to me. I remember asking Scott Cooper, "Are you sure you want me to do this? Are you sure you don't want to find somebody who already knows how to do these things, like singing and playing guitar?" And he was sure, and I had about 6 months to get there. I learned on a really beautiful guitar that Bruce Springsteen gave me after that 55 Gibson J200. And I got together with a wonderful teacher, J.D. Simo, and I got together with J.D. and I told him, you know, I'm so excited to play the guitar and learn how to do this with you. And he said, we don't have time to learn how to play the guitar. I'm going to teach you how to play these 5 Bruce Springsteen songs, and that's it. So I still feel very ill-equipped, and it still feels very alien sometimes with the guitar in my hand, unless I'm, you know, performing or Born to Run.
And as I said, look, I've just picked these clips out of the trailer, but that you somehow, when your familiarity with an instrument makes you, even the way he's holding it in the air above his head, or just having it strung around his neck, there's a sort of way that people do it where they're very comfortable with the instrument, where they've spent hours with it, but somehow he's short-circuited that and he's managed to achieve that kind of look without having spent all those hours in the chair with it. So I just think he did a brilliant job. His fingers looked like they were in exactly the right place. I would have, if someone told me he was playing it, I'd be convinced maybe he was playing it on some of those acoustic bits, but absolutely spot on for me. So 10 out of 10 on this one for realistic portrayal of the guitar. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. I bring out new videos 7 PM UK time every Friday, and now I think I'm going to go off and I'm going to watch the Bob Dylan biopic and then the Elvis one. Hope to see you next week.